Welcome all you beautiful faces back to Pommy and Oz. Hope we're all doing really well. If you're new around here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe. An absolute staggering amount of you have subscribed this month. So firstly, if you are new, thank you and welcome. We've had over 483 subscribers in the last 20 days. So, you know what, if you're one of them, welcome. It's all good fun. We're doing something really exciting today, something I enjoy doing. So I keep a little spreadsheet, and for those who don't know, I have this thing called TPI, I call it. It's basically my own little algorithm that judges players. So what we do every year is we always do like a kind of a fun Brownlow thing. This is Mrs. Pom's slush fund, because we do like to clean up a little bit with the bookies. And what we've done is we tried to narrow it down. And what we've done is we've tried to allocate a point system, and it's taken us ages. It's taken us about 4 weeks between three of us. A couple of my mates have helped with this. And what we've done is we've gone through and we've allocated more points when they're in the middle third of the ground, because that's where the majority of the umpires are. And we've created a TPI algorithm, just basically trying to weight it to give Brownlow votes. Because traditionally, for those who, obviously you guys and girls are familiar with the Brownlow, midfielders get more votes, partially because you can actually judge the more ball you have in the middle of the ground is trumped goals. So you can see that with people like Jeremy Cameron, who don't traditionally score massive Brownlow votes when he was one of the favourites a couple of years ago. Goals from midfielders are probably worth double. So what we've done is try to replicate that, and we tried to do the Brownlow votes. So this is going to be really contentious. I'm expecting a load of comments of stick to wog ball. I see that quite a bit recently as new people come in. I'm going to start commentating that when I see Australians talk about my football, but stick to egg ball. But too intelligent for that malarkey. So let's get into it. Have a look, see who wins the Brownlow, and see if we can play around with it. So what we've done is we narrowed it down to the 5 players that we feel in our TPI algorithm are probably Brownlow favourites, and that's Lockie Neal of Brisbane Football Club. That's Patrick Cripps of my Carlton Football Club. Nick Daicos of the Collingwood Football Club. Caleb Sarong of Fremantle. And Marcus Bontempelli. There is a little myth here as well. It just kind of coincides that Marcus Bontempelli we do think will score well. This is more of a let dog-led myth, because if you're robbed of the Brownlow, you get it the next year. Nick Daicos also falls in that category as well, incidentally. So that could be quite interesting, but we haven't accounted for that in the algorithm. But let's get into it round by round. So, obviously, Carlton played Collingwood and Carlton played Brisbane round 1. We're going to predict that Mr. Lockie Neal gets 0 Brownlow votes for that, but Cripps will get 1. And that's going to be quite an interesting one when you feel like it. Cripps had a very, very good game. That game. Obviously, there was some more top performers though, but it is always worth noting that if you actually look at how it went, obviously Harry got the 10 coaches' votes. That's always a good little indication. Cripps didn't score any coaching votes, but quite often you do see midfielders pop up. He did have a very impressive game that game though, Cripps. He was just about everywhere with the 23 touches. He had numerous score involvements, quite a lot of contested possessions, which goes, and he did kick a goal, which should, in our opinion, see him over George Hewitt. That'll make him stand out. Remember, when they do play, it's straight after the game they make the votes. Caleb Sarong and Marcus Bontempelli obviously had the bye. GWS beat Collingwood, and this could be a really interesting one, because this is one where, when you look at this game, just in isolation, he did get 2 Brownlow votes, but it is quite interesting that midfielders were very poignant in this game. Brent Daniels had a phenomenal game. Josh Kelly had a pretty good game as well. Lockie Whitfield and Jesse Hogan played well. So I do think, obviously, it goes against you when you lose, per se, as we always see. Go to round 1 then. Everyone's back playing now, which is really exciting. And obviously here we've got Mr. Lockie Neal. He lost to Fremantle, 0 votes. But Caleb Sarong with the 3 Brownlow votes there. He was sensational this game. He was just about everywhere. Nick Daicos probably did enough again to snag 1 vote. And this, just as a bit of a spoiler, is going to be quite a big one in this Brownlow count. Who scores when they lose? Cripps was easily best on in the Richmond game. 3 votes for him, and in a losing effort, 0 votes for Bontempelli. So at this stage, Cripps takes the lead from Caleb Sarong by 1 vote, and we move on to round 2. Round 2 is really fascinating. Cripps and Neil obviously had the bye, so they stay at 4 and 0 votes respectively. Nick Daicos, he was in a losing effort to St Kilda, and this is really dominated by St Kilda votes here, so don't expect much from here. Caleb Sarong here was sensational. This could be a real tight call for him having the 3-2, but you could even make an argument for him having the 1 vote as well. Very good spread there. The midfield really did hum there. And Marcus Bontempelli was the clear best on ground against Gold Coast. He's got the 3 votes, so Sarong holds a very narrow lead going into round 3. Round 3 then, and in a losing effort against Collingwood, we're going to predict Lockie Neal gets the votes here. He was literally all over this game, and it's going to be a real fascinating game. It's real hard to get 3 votes when you're in a losing effort, as they say, but this could be really fascinating with old Lockie Neal in this game. A lot of people predicted him to get the 3 votes, but this is just one of them games where you really look at it versus the coach's votes. 35 touches. He had a staggering 410 metres gained. He was literally a menace. He had a goal, which is really important. And I think he'll snag the 3 here. That will give Nick Daicos the 2nd votes. And I think Jamie Elliott will get the 1 with his 5 goals. I think you look at them goals, a lot of them were just right under the goal umpire's nose, which means he'll be overruled by the midfield umpires. Cripps, 2 votes in his game versus North. This one's a really tough one to look at. I do think just because a lot of the 5 goals that Harry kicked were led out into the 65-metre arc, and he spent a lot of time on the wing, that'll make them think it, really notice him. Caleb Sarong, he should get the 2 versus Adelaide. That could be a real fascinating game, though, because you could make an argument for him to get the 3, but you could also make an argument for him not to get any votes at all. Hayden Young, Mickey Walters, and Jordan Clark were sensational, as was Luke Ryan as well. But Caleb Sarong did get 28 touches. I do think Hayden Young will get the 3. And in a winning effort against the Dogs, we've got Bontempelli. He did dominate in front of goal with 3 goals, but Adam Treloar, Bailey Williams had a hell of a lot of the ball, which might go against him. On to round 4 then. And round 4, we've got a nice little bit of separation here. Carlton versus Fremantle. I think Sarong will snag the 1 vote. Cripps was a little bit quieter in this game. There was some top performers from Carlton's midfield. Lockie Neal, he'll get 2 votes versus North. Could even get 3. Marcus Bontempelli should get the 2 votes. He was sensational at this period. It's just the Doggies' form wasn't great, which might go against him. But so far, we got Sarong leading the Brownlow at round 4 from Cripps and Bont, from Neal, from Daicos. And then we go to round 5. And Lockie Neal was very quiet in this game while the other teams lost or had the bye, which is always interesting when you get to this stage of the season, because if you're not standing out in your losses, you are going to struggle. We do think Sarong, though, was sensational in Port. He'll get 1 vote. He extends his lead by 3 votes by round 5. Round 6, really fascinating here, because a lot of the top performers did win. Easy 3 votes for Nick Daicos and Patrick Cripps for me. They were sensational. Marcus Bontempelli, we're giving him the 2. This was a real tough period because although Doggies were losing and then winning at times, but losing the majority of the time, Adam Treloar, Bailey Williams, players like that, Tom Liberatore, they were absolutely flying. No votes for Neal, no votes for Sarong, and 3 votes for the big boys, Cripps and Daicos, which means Cripps and Sarong tied leaders at round 6, just followed by Bontempelli. And then we go to round 7, and you can see another loss for Bontempelli, giving him no votes, but Sarong was sensational against the Doggies, 3 votes, and we're giving 1 vote each. Now, this is a real interesting one. Both sides lost, so they could quite easily score none, and this is why it's going to come down. Well, one side drew. Nick Daicos could get more. We know Merritt will get the 3 here, but I do think he'll get 1 vote. Usually in a draw game, you do actually see that the best player will get at least 1 or even 2 votes. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Nick Daicos poll a little bit higher there. Round 8, we go in, and most of the sides won here, but Carlton did lose, and Nick Daicos was sensational here, taking the 3 drawing level with Cripps at 10. 2 votes predicted for Lockie Neal. This is another one that could be 3. You just don't know how they go. Is it disposals versus goals? 2 votes for Caleb Sarong. This, again, could be a 3. You just never know. But we do give Marcus Bontempelli, who I think if he won would have been a lock, for 3 votes, 2 votes. So you can see a 3-way tie for second, Cripps, Daicos and Bont. But Sarong coming out of the block strong, as we do predict in this one. Round 9, we go over, and then you can see Sarong did very well against Sydney. He should poll the 1 vote. Cripps was dominant, as was Nick Daicos in this game. Easy 3. Marcus Bontempelli, it could be a fascinating one here at round 9. Because when you look at the Bont in this game, there was a lot of performers. And this is probably the problem with them. Adam Treloar was sensational here at this stage of the season, and it's always worth noting. But that's going to be a very interesting one. Then we go on to round 10. Round 10, Lockie Neal should clean house here, the 3 votes. Carlton won't have anyone polling against Sydney. They were abysmal. 3 votes Nicky D, 3 votes Caleb S, and 0 votes for Marcus Bontempelli. This is going to be a really interesting one, what they do with Bontempelli here, because you do see sometimes some token votes. And obviously, no matter how sophisticated your algorithm is, you can't really make that. But he was kind of anonymous in this game, it has to be said. Was very loose with his disposal. The only thing that he has got going for him is he did have a few shots in this game, and he wasn't attacking positions, but I can't see him polling, and I do think that that is right. But Caleb Sarong still leading, 2 votes from Nicky D, Patrick C, and Bontempelli 3rd and 4th, and 5th in this little vote here is Lockie Neal. We go over to round 11, and Lockie Neal in a losing effort was sensational. He was just about everywhere and should poll the 1 vote. Patrick Cripps dominated against Gold Coast, should be the easy 3. 3 votes versus Fremantle and no votes for Sarong. This could be a really interesting one, but this was where Nick Daicos was flying at this stage and should poll quite well. And Marcus Bontempelli with a 1 in a losing effort means Nick D takes the lead. Now, round 12 is really interesting. We've got Nick Daicos with the 2 votes. This could be 1 vote, though, against round 12. It's going to be a really interesting one here. There was only 0.3 separating them in this game, and Marcus Bontempelli gets the 3 votes in a winning effort. It is really interesting, though. Adam Treloar and Nick Daicos, 0.3 separating them. Nick Daicos did kick 2 goals, though, and he could be an argument for 3 votes, but I do think, though, Marcus Bontempelli will seal that quite easy just with the way he played. Patrick Cripps, 1 vote versus Port Adelaide. Really interesting this. Sam Walsh and Tom de Koning were sensational, as was a man that could get a late vote in Jason Horne-Francis. Cripps did kick 2, though, but the amount of ball that Sam Walsh had, 34, and he went for 550 metres gained, and he got a load of ground ball gets, could be interesting. I could see this being a 2 vote, though, making it 18, but we're just going to go here with just how well people played in and around him. Nick Newman had a load of ball, and a lot of that was up the wing as well, right by the boundary, right by the main umpires as well. So this could be interesting. This could be a 3 vote, though. This could be a 3 vote, but that's going to be really interesting. On to round 13 then. Patrick Cripps against Essendon. This was a real shame here, and this is where we're going to really look at it and really be entertained by what may happen here. Tom de Koning is the one that is the favourite for the 3 votes, and you can see why. He had a phenomenal 10 votes, and so did Elijah. Cripps didn't poll any coaches' votes. I could see him sneaking the 1 here. We may have been stiff on him, but TPI really didn't enjoy Cripps' game. He only had the 19 touches. He went at 47%. He was quite a few turnovers in the middle of the ground. I think Sam Walsh will sneak the 1. Maybe the 2. Nick Martin will sneak maybe a vote there. I've got him ahead of him. That's going to be really interesting. Nick Daicos got 0 votes, and neither did Marcus Bontempelli. But sensationally, Lockie Neal was absolutely insane this game. He had 38 touches, probably the closest you get to a guaranteed when you get 2 goals as well. Eric Hipwood will poll a goal as well. When you get over 6, you're always in the votes. Round 14 then, no votes in the win for Lachie Neale. This is probably stiff, but going to be really interesting what the coaches, how the coaches and that do. But Lachie Neale only had the 20 touches. He did get in front of goal, didn't kick any goals though. And Hugh McCluggage, Danaher, Zorko, Jack Higgins, Dunkley, they were all sensational. Geelong, Cripps should poll the 3. Nick Daicos and Bont had the bye. Sarong will get 1 vote, meaning Nick Daicos leads from Sarong, from Cripps, from Bont. And we go over to round 16. Now, this is Crippsville here. This is Crippsville. And you look here, no votes for Neale. A lot again. This was where the Clug and Co really came to the fore. Cripps should poll 3 against Richmond. He was sensational. No real standout performers in the Gold Coast Collingwood game. So I do think Nick Daicos will poll the 2 there. Sarong will get 2 for the win against Sydney and an easy 3 votes for Marcus Bontempelli. Meaning suddenly we have a cluster up at the top. And this is what I mean. Them losses are going to really come in if you can poll 1 vote, 2 votes. And then ones where you maybe didn't have the touches in front are going to be really important. Lachie Neale should poll 3, getting into the 20s. Cripps was sensational in a losing effort. Now, this is, again, could be 2. Kind of favoured him here. And same with Essendon against Nick Daicos, 1 vote. No votes for Sarong and Bont. Maybe an argument for Sarong, maybe having a late one there. I don't think he will. But you can see it's clutching up. And we get to round 18. No votes for Cripps, Daicos and Sarong. 1 vote for Bont. That could be 2. Just stay tuned for that one against Carlton. But Lachie Neale should poll 3 quite easy. Meaning Nick Daicos leads from Cripps. Joint 3rd, Sarong, Bont. And Lachie Neale just coming into that joint 3rd as well. Round 19, no votes for Lachie Neale. This is interesting. This was a real good spread. But Cripps will be the standout against North. No votes for Nicky D. Caleb Sarong with 2 votes, Marcus Bontempelli. And then we go into round 20 and look at how tight this race is. Cripps won't get any votes against Port Carlton, were abysmal. 3 votes though for Nick Daicos, Sarong and Lachie Neale. No votes for Marcus Bontempelli. Maybe a shout for 1 vote. But this should be really entertaining. Round 21 then, Carlton started to have their loss streak here, but they should get the 3 votes against Collingwood. This is going to be a really interesting one because you could see Nick Daicos get it, but Cripps was sensational in this game. It has to be said. 30 touches, he had a goal. Nick Daicos, he had 28 and a goal. It's going to be dependent on which way they go. You could see these chop and change. Marcus Bontempelli with 3 votes, meaning at round 22, we get to a really exciting stage where every side lost, and Sarong is probably the only person who can put his hand up to claim he has a vote. Meaning 32 plays 31, Nick Daicos leads from Cripps. 29 for Sarong and Neale, and Bontempelli there in 26. Round 23, fascinating viewing. Cripps dominant against the Eagles, as was Nicky D in the 3 votes. And Marcus Bontempelli could get 3 votes or 2. It's going to be really tight here. Should be no votes, though, coming from Lachie Neale and Sarong. And going into the last round, Cripps should poll 3 in the last round. You never know when you lose, but Cripps was easily, in this game, the best player on the ground. He had 30 touches. He was everywhere. He had loads of contested ball as well. He had loads of ground ball. He created numerous scoring opportunities, and he was the standout there. Sam Walsh and Jack Sinclair should poll in there as well. The 2 to Sinclair, the 1 Walsh. Against Melbourne, he was in another zone though, Nick Daicos. 40 touches and the 2 goals. This should be a clear 3. So you can see here that at the moment we've got Nick Daicos winning it by 1 vote to Cripps. Lachie Neale 3rd, Sarong and Bont 4. This could be interesting though because we gave Cripps a couple of votes when he lost, but we also didn't give him it when they won as well, and he was the 2nd. So this could be a really interesting one. Nick Daicos has got the advantage, really, because he was always 3 votes when he gets them 30. This is going to be a sensational Brownlow vote. I can't wait to watch it with you guys and girls on the BA channel. Make sure you head to pommyandoz.com, buy your merch. There is some sick stuff there. Really does help the channel out. Become a member of the channel as well. We're going to do loads of members only off-season content as well, where you can just kick back and chill with me. Peace, love, and light. Pommy out.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad.